Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. It is Thursday and it is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's whatever time it is for you, wherever you're at. And you know what time it is. And yes, I'm talking with my hands so I can show off my nails. But I am so excited for this episode of the Lioness's Lair. We're going to talk about how do we unplug, how do we disconnect. But y'all know I can't do this by myself because I've never done it by myself, right? Because I got two of the most flyest, beautiful sisters here representing with me. I love them so much. So we're going to start with bringing out my sister Camille to the show. Let's add her to the stream. Camille, what it do, boo?
What it do? What it do? Hey,
How you
it's Thursday.
doing?
Welcome to the lair.
Woo! How you like that new intro, sis?
I love it. I love it.
All
So
right.
us. So us.
Definitely. Show us. You'll see us as we continue to make changes and do different things. But we definitely appreciate all your support. Camille, how's your week been, sis?
It's been good. I have been in learning mode this week. It has been wonderful. I have, kind of tuned some things down a little bit here and there, learned to put down my phone at times when I needed to. And so, yeah, so I had to practice, before I came on, I had to practice a little bit, right?
Yes, right? Because we always say we're not speaking from perfection, we're speaking from human experience. So and next is not just the two of us because we are a trio. So shout out to our beautiful sister Carrie, who we're gonna bring to the
Yeah.
screen. Carrie, ayo, how you doing, beautiful?
Hey, ladies. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. For some of us, it's like third Friday
Yes.
because
Friday
yeah,
Eve. It's Friday
Friday
Eve.
Eve. I love it. We got a nice little vacation coming up, a 4 day. How have you been, beautiful?
I am good. I took the week to, like, you know how you're about to be off for a long time. You're like, let me close everything up because I'm about to be off for 4 days. Don't call me. Don't email me. See you on Tuesday. So,
So,
yeah.
so Carrie, you talk about sometimes as far as with work and different things. We all know we suffer a little bit from the workaholic syndrome. So how
Mhm.
do you and we'll get more into the topic, but how do you make sure that laptop stays closed so you can truly enjoy this 4 day that you've earned?
So the truth is, I don't close the laptop. Don't tell them that. But what happens is, I tie up everything for some that I owe somebody, right? So no one is pinging me and say I'm missing something. So I'm checking the laptops at that point to clean up my mailbox, or for my own self to get my calendar in order so I feel better when I go back to work. But I've taken care of all my responsibilities to a certain extent, so they shouldn't have to message me. They still will.
That always
Of
happens,
course.
doesn't it? Definitely, definitely, definitely. And Camille, for you, I know you are a businesswoman, and just because you retire doesn't mean the work stops. So, what are you gonna do to make sure that you take time to decompress for yourself?
Well, I'm planning some vacations for one. Okay. So,
Ooh.
yeah, I got a few things, coming up in the next couple of months. But, also my cousin, she texted me yesterday and she was like, "Hey, I want to come down and see you." And I said, "Cool, when?" She was, "Look, my ticket is booked, everything." So I'm going to wind down with my cousin. I haven't seen her in a few years. And so we're going to spend some time together. And I'm going to take that time and focus on just reconnecting with her because it has been a few years. So little things like that, really help me to just focus. And I'm gonna be like Carrie and tie up some loose ends so that I can,
Mhm.
enjoy that time, with peace of mind. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. For
What you got,
me,
Chris?
so for me, I'm gonna take some time. You guys know I love to watch the sunrise, love to do hikes. I'm gonna do some nature things. As long as these insects in Texas let me be great, and no snakes are coming. Spend some time with the kids, hang out with friends, and for me, I did bring my laptop home from work. But I am going to challenge myself to truly disconnect because things can wait till
Mhm.
Tuesday. And
Mhm.
so it's kind of what brings us here. And shout out to everybody that's watching. Thank you for the comments already. Please like and share this video. Just hit the share. We definitely appreciate that. And we are excited that you took the opportunity to come out and hang out with the Layer family. But that brings us to our topic for today, and that is unplugging and
Mm.
disconnecting.
Yes.
And I think it's important when we talk about actually unplugging.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have social media devices. We are all literally available quickly with a text, with a message. And it's so easy. So easy. If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, I
Yes.
highly advise that you watch it. It talks about how they have designed these social media structures, even our phones, to cause us to want to respond. So
Mm-hmm.
that goes with our, let's get right into it. So when we say what is unplugging and disconnecting, what does it mean to you, Camille?
So for me, it literally means unplugging and disconnecting. Unplugging from my TV, which I don't watch a lot of anyway, but sometimes you just need to be with yourself and your own thoughts, you know. And I will turn off my phone. I put the do not disturb on my phone. My kids know if they ring me twice, they'll be able to get to me. But I do put on do not disturb for those times so that I can truly just relax or take a nap or something like that. Turn off my phone. I close my laptop so I don't hear the ping 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 constantly. You know what I mean? And then it doesn't jar you because even with your phone, even when it's on vibrate. So I also have learned to put it on silent if it's on and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, wanting to, so it doesn't buzz or bing while I'm in the midst of trying to literally just kind of disconnect from the world and reconnect with myself. So that's some of what I do. That's what it means for me.
So let me ask you a question. When you talked about setting it on do not disturb, do you have a particular time that you do that every day or?
I do. So my phone, unless I'm on it and I actually see it, but my do not disturb is from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I typically, I'm a night owl for those who know I'm up. Yes, I do that as well. I put my blanket over my I can't believe that. I do. I get in
King
the
is giving
routine.
us the tea. All right, King. Thank you for the
I
tea.
put my blanket, yes, over my head, and everybody knows that I'm in my own space. I'm taking my nap. Don't bother me, and they don't. But anyway, so my do not disturb it is from 10 to 7. I'm a night owl, so I'm still up working. So sometimes I have my phone, but it's to stop all the outside distractions. I choose what I want to engage in. So yeah.
All right. So definitely, I definitely see that blanket over the head probably helps. It's like leave me alone, my protective level. Leave me alone. What about you, Carrie?
So I kind of think it's the same, similar things for me. I mean, I set not only my do not disturb, but I set daily boundaries. So people like that really know me, know don't call me on a certain, after a certain time kind of thing. So my do not disturb is usually on for like telemarketers or people I don't talk to on a regular that just maybe have thought about me at that time, and I'll just send them a message like, don't, I'm not answering right now. But I usually turn my phone off around 10 o'clock as well. I don't take emails or phone calls after that time unless you're already in that really tight circle of family and friends. I have a day of the week that I unplug from the world and everybody around me, and people just know that about you. And so you have to start teaching people what you'll accept and what you won't. And then after a while, those people in your life, they'll just comply because they understand that's something that you need. So you don't have to, in my mind, wait till a whole, 6 months, once a year thing to unplug. You can unplug weekly, daily, in different ways that you need to recharge. So
So how did you teach people to learn what your boundaries are?
you tell them and you're consistent, right? So hey, don't call me at 11 o'clock at night, right? And so you tell them once, they may forget. We're people, we make mistakes. So they do it a second time, you remind them. If you start telling them don't call you at 11 o'clock at night and then you accept every other call they call, they're going to continue to call you at 11 o'clock at night, right? So you just
Yeah.
consistently remind them, hey, I said this or whatever. And then sometimes, honestly, the people who I realize are not getting it, they'll call me and I'll look right at my phone and I'm not answering. And it's
I
it's
hit
to
that
teach.
decline.
Yeah, it's to teach them, and it's not personal. It's to teach them, and after a while, it'll click in their minds. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, she doesn't talk on 11 o'clock, or she doesn't answer her phone or hang out on Sundays." It's not personal. So
So what if have you ever had the fear of you could probably lose out on a certain type of companionship or friendship because you disconnect from
no.
somebody?
Mm-mm. No, because the thing is, everyone has their own little nuances, right? And we always talk here about showing yourself to people. You have to communicate that this is what I like, this is what I think, and a person has an opportunity to accept that or not. And if you're going to lose out on that person shouldn't be in your life anyway. That's really just how I see it. And there's nothing wrong with saying, like FaceTime. My friends will tell you I hate FaceTime. I hate FaceTime. So they'll call me and say, hey, can I call you on FaceTime? I have to really show you something. And I'll say yes or no. But they won't just automatically call me on FaceTime because I just don't like it. You know?
Oh my goodness. I'm saying the biggest disrespect. Do not FaceTime me. Do
Half the
not
time I may
FaceTime
not be
me.
dressed.
Maybe I'm not dressed. Maybe my hair is not the hair color I want is not on. The disrespect, like we have to be like you got to pretty much be like my child
Yes.
to just FaceTime me, and I'm probably gonna tell her what time it is, no clock too. But it's like one of those. I'm like, why do people get comfortable? Have you guys even got like Facebook calls? People calling you from Facebook?
All the time.
The audacity.
Facebook.
Yeah,
My mother's notorious for that. Group Facebook, FaceTime, face
A group
messenger,
FaceTime,
oh my
a group
god.
message.
I would
And
die.
I'm like half the time, look, my hair ain't comb, and I'm like, okay, that ones that you be trying to show your forehead like that.
Get that angle perfect where they can't
And
see.
then they be
Yeah.
like, I can't see your face. You're like, girl, come
Duh.
That's the point. So you guys, one of our definitely fellow and loyal listeners, Jennifer, shout out
top
to
fan.
you. And congratulations on your upcoming retirement. Um,
Woo!
congratulations.
Freedom,
You
girl,
are
freedom.
amazing. Amazing. And I get a chance to be a part of the ceremony. So, and I just appreciate you, sis. So she says, yes, her biggest fear is missing a call from a friend when they are in need. So when we put those do not disturbs on, do you wonder if sometimes you might miss something that's important?
Because they can call you
No, because people
twice.
call, yeah. They can call you twice if it's an emergency, and they can also text you. If they send a text and this doesn't go, I can see the text. So if it's ever an emergency for somebody, and if that's any of my friends on there, please send me a text and say, this is an emergency. Can you please answer your phone? You can even message on Facebook because, like I said, I'm up, but that's my time to do the things that I need to do away from other people. But if it's an emergency, everybody that knows me knows I will pick up the phone. And there are some people that I know that when they call, they usually need something, and I'm there to help them through whatever it is that they're going through. So I haven't had a situation that I know of that I haven't been able to be there for a friend in need because of my do not disturb.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm gonna tell you, I definitely get the business about my do not disturb. So I will go ahead. I feel like we're a trusted company, so this is between us and the entire internet. Um, I get sometimes anxiety when the phone rings or dings because I feel like I have to answer it immediately. So I would put my do not disturb on so I can rack and stack the importance of who's calling. And we had a discussion, and it was like, Crystal, like, don't put your do not disturb on at 5 o'clock. Um, so I learned, I learned the time frame, and I know we talked a little bit about relationships and putting on do not disturb. So how can unplugging and disconnecting actually help the relationships, whether that's with your significant other, your kids, your friends? Camille, how have you seen unplugging and disconnecting actually cause or have a benefit to the relationships that you have?
well, for one, everybody needs their own time. Everybody needs time to decompress by themselves. Everybody, like, okay, so I'm gonna just tell you about my ex-husband. Do not disturb doesn't necessarily have to be just on your phone or on your device, right? So we had this set up because I had a very stressful job. So for the first 30 minutes that I came home from work, what he would do was the kids were not allowed to talk to me. I went in the room, sometimes there'd be a bath made or whatever the case may be, and I took that 30 minutes and I would literally wash off the day's stresses. That's how I say it. I would take a shower, hot shower, or I would take a bath and soak. I would get myself together so that I could separate my work stress from home. And then when I walked out of my room, I was able to greet my kids, with a happy face, with a, this is about us, this is us time. Let me start cooking dinner and do all these things. And I wasn't snapping at them because I was angry about what was going on at work. So that was a do not disturb that we had, a boundary that we had in our family, so that I can come into their day refreshed, and I don't bring all
Yes.
of my baggage to my family, and they didn't feel that. So it's just not about your phone, but it's establishing boundaries within your family as well, that this is the time that I need to decompress so that I could be a better person for you.
I'm
So
telling
that's
you. I
how,
love that because unplugging and disconnecting, we are talking about certain social media devices, but it also has to do, I like what, I want to say Tranis is, I apologize if I messed your name up.
Trinice.
Trinice, huh?
Trinice.
Trinice.
Trini.
It helps you to recenter yourself. It does. It helps you when you unplug and disconnect. So, Carrie, for you, how has it helped improve your relationships when you take those days and those times that you said to say, hey, and you guys, she's not playing. We can't even reach out to her at these times. She's with the business. She's not playing. There's certain
Okay.
times she's like,
Listen.
Big Red, my office hours are from this
Yes,
to
ma'am.
this. And I
And I do it
respect
to
that.
I do it to everybody. And the reason is because I talk about my anxiety all the time. Well, that's also coupled with ADHD. I can lose focus really quick. One of the things that I really do specifically at work, I had to learn this a few years ago. I have friends, if you're listening overseas, they're waking up in the morning getting ready to go to work. So they usually talk to me. But I'm in the middle of work. I turn my phone off at work now. So they cannot have access to me. Because if not, I'm going to talk to you about everything you have going on. You're going to stop at Starbucks, and then you're going to go into work, and then I'm not going to get anything done for the rest of the day, right? So you have to know yourself, your weaknesses and what you need balance. But as far as relationships go, I feel like if I am able to focus and recenter, like Trini said, it allows me then to, not bring my stress to my family or my loved ones or whatever. And I think it's really important to do that. So when I'm in a relationship specifically, I have particular times, like Camille said, and I actually never heard of that, but I think that's a great idea to like wash the stress off the day with you before you walk into your home life. But what I do is I'm dating, I'm in a long distance relationship. And so I will come home and
Ew.
no, if I don't listen to Crystal, y'all. Anyways, what I would do, what I would do is I would then say, I can't with y'all. I don't even know what I was talking about no more. It don't
No,
even
you were
matter.
talking about during
Listen,
the day. No, you was good. You was on track. You was talking about like during the day. If you were in a long distance relationship, what you would do
yes.
to reduce the stress.
I come home and I do my chores, walk my dog, make dinner, eat dinner, whatever, right? And then I talk to my friends and then knock that out the way. When I say I have to go talk to Boo, that is Boo's time, I have to carve that time out for him. And before I do that, I take my shower, I get ready for bed. I have my own, it's almost like a routine that I do before I go to bed. And that helps me to decompress before I throw my baggage of the day on him. So
No,
that's what I
and
would do if I were in a relationship. If y'all don't see me next Thursday,
So we'll sit on a bolo, sis. So I think those definitely all great points. And for me, I'll tell you one of some of my struggles and what I've continually tried to do. So for me, and for those that are listening, people that know me, I am horrible when it comes to. I do not like text messages. And maybe it's because I snuck on the phone a lot when I was younger. I don't enjoy talking on the phone. It's because, so back in the day, I'm just going to say this, it's going to all tie in. Back in the day when it wasn't so many cell phones, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm 30 something. So back in the day, when you would have the phones, typically, they'd be like, the phones in the house. When you got grounded, they would take the phone off the wall. And that was like, we take kids' cell phones. They would just take the whole phone off the wall in your room or wherever. And so I would go and sneak and get the phone and just hope nobody answered it, right? So for me, I think that was my karma. I don't enjoy talking, like I don't find enjoyment talking on the phone. I like to talk face to face. That's just how I flow, what I like. So for me, I look at different ways to now that the phone is how people have to constantly communicate and text messages, I had to start setting boundaries. I would leave work and pick my kids up, and they get in a car, and instead of being able to tell them, hey, how was your day? I'd be like, hold on one second, babe. What happened at work? Like as I'm talking to work on the phone, and I was like, nope, no more setting those boundaries. So what I like to do when I walk in my house, we have and they're at Amazon, about $29.99. It's like a glass box with a timer. So when we come in the house, we put our phones in this timer and we set it for, whatever time is deemed. So it literally, and it doesn't open until that timer's up. Shout out to the social dilemma. And because my daughter has a phone. So that allows, no matter what happens, those problems are in that box. Right. And I don't have a phone at home. So I take that opportunity for us to sit here and talk and have conversations. But I do need about 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't think about what Camille said, but I could talk about something that has nothing to do with work. I don't want her to talk about anything that has to do with school. The youngest can talk about Transformers. But other than that, I want us to talk about just us, how we feel, what our plans for, the next day, but nothing involving that. And for me, that helps to release that stress from my mind. And one of the other points, whenever it comes to unplugging and disconnecting, is how it helps our stress, how it helps our mood, how it helps us, you know, how it helps us, our brain, everything. So I'll start with you, Camille. How do you think when an individual unplugs is beneficial to them in the physical sense as well as the social sense?
Well, when we're dealing with, work stress or any kind of stress constantly, you have that high level of stress constantly, cortisol is being, expressed in your body the whole time. You can't operate on that level because it starts damaging your systems. Okay. You can't do it. So everybody needs time to decompress. Not being at high, we see it all the time in the military. People have high stress, and then they retire and then they die. You know what I mean? They die within a couple of months, 6 months.
Damn, Camille.
I mean, it's
Facts.
the truth.
Facts.
It's the truth, though, right? I've known several people in my career within
Yeah.
6 months of retirement because they were in a high stress job and didn't know how to manage it. They literally killed over and died.
Really?
Now, I used to say, yes, this is a fact, you guys. And you have to learn how to shut that off so that your body can go back to a normal state. Because if you have just decrease like that, your system goes haywire. It doesn't know what to do because it's been operating at this high level, and it's literally destroying your body. So after I lost several friends, actually, or coworkers and things like that I knew, I was like, I'll be doggone if I worked this hard this whole career, how 20 something years, and then die within 6 months and not be able to see the fruits of my labor. I was like, no. So I started taking vacations. I started doing things for myself so that I could reset my body. I could take that stress down. I had to learn to separate some things so that my body can literally, in the very literal sense, heal from all of the stresses of work and home and relationships and things like that. So I take girlfriend trips too, and it really helps to just bring me back to center. So that's kind of how I deal with that.
So, thank you, Camille. Great and all great points. Before we get to you, Carrie, Jennifer, I know. Congratulations again on your upcoming retirement. Can you please type in the comments what you're doing as you make this transition? Because hearing that, Camille, I didn't know. I gotta make sure I write that note down for myself. What are some things you're doing, Jen, to make sure you're prepared for that de-escalation of stress? So I definitely want to hear from her. Now, Carrie, same question for you.
Yeah, so first, shout out to my mom, Alma Grayhouse. And I know your phone is about 10:30 to 6:30 p.m., but when I call, just make sure you answer. But thanks, that's my second mommy, y'all. But seriously, I was reading a study this week, and it says study shows that the excessive social media use and just media use in general, computer, TV, whatever, right? The brain reacts the same way for people who are addicted to narcotics. So when you get off of that, your brain also acts the same way. So when you're acting at that high level of stress continuously and you finally decompress for whatever the case may be, right? Your body, your brain freaks out, literally. It's a real thing. And that can bring your heart into, a racing state where you feel like you're having a heart attack, panic attack, whatever the case is. That adjustment, what Jen is going to tell us here, that adjustment is important. You just can't go from point A to point B, from operating 100 miles an hour, right, to just going back to zero immediately. It's just not healthy for anyone to do. So,
that's a great point as well, as far as the shock of the body. And I actually had one of our faithful listeners, shout out to Sin Syndicate, and actually sent me a message that said 50% of retirees, and it's probably not just military, but 50% of retirees die within the first 5 years of retirement.
yes.
Wow.
Which
Wow, wow,
is,
wow.
never mind, never
Wow.
mind. I'm going to keep my comments to myself about the retirement pay. But
Well, let
okay.
me say this. Let me let me say this. Not just about the pay, though, but I think that what happens is people forget that jobs have an expiration date. Careers have an expiration date. We look forward to retirement, and what we don't do is properly plan for our second life. And so you
Yes.
go and go and go, and you say, I'm 20 years, 30 years. For me, it's 25 years, 2 months, and 20 days that I spent in the military. And it came so fast. But like I said, I literally saw it and knew so many people who passed away within 6 months after retiring. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those who don't know what to do. Then you start freaking out. You're already operating at this level of stress. You don't have that. You lose your sense of purpose. Lose your sense of fulfillment because you have literally wrapped your whole life around this job that was going to end, and you didn't prepare for that. And my commander, before I left, he was like, well, people, once you take this off, it's a different life. Nobody. I said, see, that's the problem. I know who I am. I'm Camille when I leave these things, and I'm already preparing for my life after, because I learned 15, 18 years ago that this job was going to come to an end at some point. So I better get some skills, some talent, some something. I better find my talents or something, because when it's over, I don't want to have to necessarily reinvent myself, but I just want to be able to be comfortable with who I am in whatever situation I'm in. So I think that's why a lot of people do die, because they just don't have that purpose anymore. They don't have that sense of fulfillment. They're not, now here I am on my own. And when you retire, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, don't nobody care about you. Don't nobody call my phone. Don't nobody come see you. Don't nobody, all the stuff
I
that they
call
said
her
back in the joke.
hello from the other side.
But seriously, all those people like, oh, we're gonna miss you. Oh, you did all this and all that. Ain't nobody rang my phone. Okay, so you better get used to being around you, or understanding who you are and what you have to give the world, not just that job, the world.
Do we
So
got the noisemaker, ladies? Do we have the noisemakers? Can we get So let me tell you. Go ahead, Carrie. No, you good.
Now,
Go ahead, sis.
I was saying to Camille is 100% right. So many people get caught up on the promotion and the rank and the next thing, the next assignment. It has to come to an end. And if you wait till you're 20 or 25 or whenever you're leaving to start preparing your life, you've already lost. You don't even know who you are. And I mean, and that's fair. That's fair if you came in the military 17, 18 years, right? 18 years old, and you stayed for 25 years. You do have to think outside the box. Who am I outside of this thing? This is all you've probably known your entire adult life. But if you wait until the year of you retiring to start thinking about that, you're going to lose it when you get out. Or you're going to come back. Nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this, but you're going to come back and get a federal job and change your uniform and sit in the same seat you were in, because that's your comfort zone.
and talk about what you used to be.
Stop telling me your stories.
So I want to.
Nobody cares what your rank was in the civilian world.
No,
Nobody does.
we care about you as the retiree, but listen, you are no longer in. Give it up.
You're not a priority.
So no, all great points.
So I can say it.
All definitely all great points. And I'm gonna say one thing, and then we'll get back to the disconnecting is whenever I have individuals that I have the opportunity to be around, I always ask them this question. I say, what's your passion? Mm-hmm. And they're like, my passion is this, my passion. I said, no, what's your passion outside of the job that you do? Like, what is your passion outside of that? Because this has an expiration date. I mean, we have an expiration date, but this has an expiration date. So what else are you looking at outside of this? What is your passion, right? Mm-hmm. What is your passion outside of it? And it hopes to help people to start to think about looking at those particular passions. And I think when it comes to Facebook, Tinder, when it comes to, we're going to talk about Tinder next week. Shout out to Camille when she's moderating. Tinder, when it comes to Instagram, when it comes to all this social media forums, right? It causes a heightened state. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was one time that they talked about that they were doing a study, because when you sign up for these social media sites, you were signing up for more than just a social media account.
Yeah.
Right? As they said in The Dilemma, if you are not selling a product, you are the product. So that's kind of what was one of the things that really struck me. And when they're looking at your reactions to different things that you're seeing on social media, it is causing an algorithm where they send more of those things to you. And for this particular one, they were focusing on negativity. Like if they sent more negative things on a post, suggested those things to you, how would it truly impact you? And so when it comes to disconnecting and it comes to our mental health, stress, physical, all of those things are heightened when we're constantly looking at things, right? On social media. I know I'm friends with these two beautiful ladies and they post very uplifting things. I ain't gonna lie, I post a lot of savage things, but they're funny, right? But at the same time, there's people out there that post kind of negative things. In all types of social media forums. So for Camille and Carrie, we'll start with you this time, Carrie. When you see somebody that's posting something negative or it's not simmering right with your spirit, and they could be a good friend of yours, how do you handle that? Do you unfriend them? Do you just say, I'm taking a break from Facebook? What do you do in those situations?
I think it depends on what it is they're posting negative, right? So if they're posting something negative and it seems like, they're going through something, I think I would reach out to that person. That person is my friend. What I like to say is, for me, I'm not very good at social media. And I like to tell people, my friends likes to say, don't take yourself so seriously. Sometimes a social media post has absolutely nothing to do with that person is going through, and it is just a post. So read it and don't read into it. So for me, it depends on what it is. Now, if there's somebody, I see people post with things that don't align with my values, for example, right? So if you're posting about, I don't know, drugs or whatever all the time, and that doesn't align with me, I will delete you. I'll remove you and hide you. But if you're posting something just to get someone's reaction, because like you said, social media, either you're selling yourself or you're selling a product. And sometimes you have to, just like the news is there to pull on your emotion in a certain extent for you to respond. It's like reality TV. I don't watch reality TV. Trash TV gets a lot of attention because it's pulling at your emotion. And so imagine a reality TV site on Facebook. So if they're posting those type of negative things, there's a certain type of crowd that's going to respond to that. And I mean, you have to see it for what it is. Now, if you're talking about, beating a spouse and child abuse and stuff that you're just against, that's something I'm gonna have to talk to you about. So I think understanding the why behind the post is the most important thing first.
I think that's actually a really good point. Understanding the why, because some people are doing it just like, I post a lot of things because I feel like it's funny and lighthearted. But I never try to post anything to hurt anybody. Because they say, like, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like a hit dog gonna holler. So if someone posts something, like this one individual posted, she was like, I'm not gonna argue with anybody that has a white refrigerator. I'm sorry, that has
right.
She said, if you have a white refrigerator, I'm not gonna argue with you. And so anyway,
and you go check your kitchen like, is she talking about me?
So people were getting mad because they were like, I'm not good enough because I don't have a stainless steel refrigerator. And so at that point, those type of things. I didn't unfriend her. I mean, I have a stainless steel. I didn't unfriend her.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't I'm sorry, you guys. I love y'all. I don't feel like what she was posting was negative. She was just making a comment. And most things that people post are things that are reposts to get a laugh, like you said. The last reality TV show I ever watched was I Love New York and Flavor of Love. After that, and I found out it was script.
You're worse than me. At least I watched Basketball Wives. That was, a couple years ago.
I have not. No, I Love New York is that's the last. It's like wrestling. After I find out it was scripted, I thought it was real, and after that, I was like, I cannot. So,
if you to that point, if you do watch it, there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know, that it's entertainment. And it's like your Savage post, right? When you do, first of all, y'all, okay. I just found out literally a month ago because my friends are like, did you not see my post on Facebook? And I was like, no. She's like, are you following me? I said, yeah, on Instagram. She said, you got to follow me on Facebook. Why did I not know that you're supposed to follow people on Facebook? Why am I just learning this right now? That if you follow them, you see their post all the time. And I was like, I don't think I'm following anybody. It's so weird because here I am posting all the time thinking I only got 5 friends that post on Facebook. That's because I'm not following anybody, so I'm not seeing their stuff. But to your Savage
I think
post,
I just learned something.
wait, did you not know that either? Please tell me you didn't know that either.
I did not know that.
I hit the friend request.
Girl, there's a follow button.
Friend request, but I don't follow.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel so bad because my friend was like, Carrie, I need you to get your, my nephew says only old people use Facebook anyway. So
I know. My daughter says the same thing. She's like, we're not on Facebook. Like, y'all, I'm like, what? I'm like, Facebook is the jam. And she's like, no, because you said that. It's not.
I haven't mastered Facebook yet, so I can't even upgrade to Instagram all the way, right? But yes, there is a follow button on Facebook. And if you follow particular people, their stuff starts to show up in your page. So sometimes people are like, well, you haven't seen me, you haven't commented on my stuff. It's because I haven't been following them. But to your Savage post, if I see Crystal in one of her funny Savage posts, I don't think Crystal is going through this, It's not that she's going through this in this moment. It's just something that she's posting to get your take on it, for you to laugh to, lighthearted, whatever the case is. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And and I'm gonna go ahead, Camille, because I know you guys have to say. Go ahead, boo. You good?
No, I just this is a real question because I me, I'm a little different thinker. I don't post nothing I don't connect to in some sort of way. I don't post anything that I'm not connected to. Even if it's a funny something or a savage something, I have to have some sort of connection to that. I may not be going through it right now. I may have gone through it. There may be something. But I mean, for people who just post stuff to get stuff, and I see that Herm says he posts to get people's thoughts
all the time. Shout out to Herm.
I know, and I love it. And I love it.
My goodness, Herm.
I love it. But I'm asking people that just say, well, I posted it, don't mean whatever. For a person like me, it's hard for me to truly grasp that, because I'm like, I just don't just be posting stuff, because I have to literally have some sort of connection to that, whether I think it's funny, something I've seen, something I've gone through, something I've experienced or whatever, or else I'm not going to post it, because it's just, I don't just post random stuff, because I am my brand, I am my person, I am.
Yeah.
So it's
I be posting all kinds of crazy.
So I post, y'all see my Savage post. Let me read to you my latest Savage post, okay? And it's definitely PG. It says, don't argue with him. Just say, my side man was right about you, and walk away.
That was funny. Right? I liked it. Okay.
That was, I know.
But I get it.
So to me, when I see a post like that, right? Ow. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, now, is that something I would recommend to people in loving and caring relationships? Right? Not necessarily. But that energy is hilarious to me. So I think that's funny. Like, I'm not in a relationship. So like stuff like that is not yet. Stay tuned. The savagery might be reducing soon. Oh shit. So, but no, I think it's just funny because it makes me laugh. And sometimes I think we need humor. And to go to my bro Herm, Skip Shuttlesworth, if you don't follow him, you are missing out. His posts make me happy, sad, mad, glad, because his posts spark thought and conversation. Herm is a genius. You
And that's what
know?
I love about that, because if not, you're going to be in your own thought process forever, right?
Right.
I want to hear what you think on these thoughts. How I see the world is not necessarily how everyone else sees it. And that's the point of
Right.
having these, that's use social media to your benefit. And I love what
Yeah.
Herm is doing.
Yes. And
But
then
that's what I'm saying. He's connected to it though, whether it's funny, whether it's, and he has conversation and he has those things. So for me, I know people say I just post random stuff, but I see 1,000 random things. It might be only two that I actually post because those are the ones that connected to me, whether they're funny or not. So I think that there are people that probably think like me. You be like, don't read too much into it. And I'm like, well, it was something about it that caught your attention. You know what I mean? That you would post it. So I think that that's what it is, rather than people just trying to be. They really maybe like me, be like, hey, hey, you want to talk? I don't know. I
I
don't know.
do.
So
Well, I'll tell you this. So shout out to you, Scott. He says I mainly post animal videos. He
I
loves
know.
unicorns, and I
I
use
did
social
too.
media to steal the memes. I do. Memes are one of the best creations, and I think
Yes.
it's important for us to learn when to disconnect that from reality to what it is. And for me, I think even though people post things funny, sometimes like they call them ID addicts, right? Investigation discovery addicts, where if you don't know what investigation discovery is, it's like back in the day when you would hear like the unsolved mysteries, dun dun dun
Hmm.
dun 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 dun, and you got scared. Like, so I realized watching that continuously was I'd go outside and I would hear that voice like, is somebody gonna murder me right now? Like, so I think even though you see certain things, it's important to know when you're getting inundated with too much of something, and that's important
yes.
when we know it's time for us to disconnect, and to take things lightheartedly. We definitely love listening to Carrie speak too. We love you, Carrie. Don't you see that? So I did.
Did she
I
put
do.
my whole name on here?
She did, Carrie Ann. She put your whole
She
government.
sure did. So,
So
like you were saying about the, go ahead, Crystal.
no, you're good, sis. I was just laughing.
No, I was saying like you're talking about ID. So I watch a lot. I watch a lot of Snaps, Law and Order, ID. I watch a lot of criminal shows. I like to. At one point, I wanted to be a forensic scientist. I want to know how they died, and I want to. That's how I am, right? So
Me too.
sometimes you need to unplug from that with a great meme. You know what I mean? Because they get
Yeah.
heavy sometimes
It
too, right?
does. Have you ever seen something? And I promise y'all, we this definitely disconnecting and plugging and the impacts. But we gotta go where we go. Have you ever seen something negative about something that happened to somebody that you don't know, and you wanted to click through social media to figure out what happened to them, and you don't even know, and then you
Yeah,
figure out what happened, and then
yeah.
it impacts you, and you think about it. And so that's why
Mhm.
sometimes for me, I used to do the beginning. So the beginning of the year, I disconnect from all social media, and just to give like a reset.
Hmm.
Because at the same time, King said none of y'all read a book.
I
Thank
got a whole
you.
shelf above me.
I do right here, right here.
I
So
got a
I'm
whole shelf.
humble,
Oh,
hungry, hustle.
that's a great book. That's
Shout
a
out.
great book.
Love this book. Love this book. Don't be playing us, you know what I'm saying? Um,
Mhm.
but it's important to disconnect and read a book, right?
Yes.
Whether it's audiobook, Kindle, whatever. I think it's important because when we end even with news, when you inundate yourself with screen when you inundate yourself with things when you inundate yourself with things from the screen, whether it's TV, social media, that stuff gets into your spirits and it can have an
I was
impact. What
gonna
do you
say
think?
that. I was gonna say that that was the one point I was waiting for you to finish to make is especially the news because the world itself, we have so many things that are going on, and I literally have to tell people around me to shut it off or no, I'm not
Hmm.
gonna watch that video or I'm gonna watch it tomorrow because I already know what it's about and I don't need no more because it's vexing my spirit right now
Yeah.
and I don't need anything to get. So I'm very vocal about I don't want to see it. I know what the end result is. It's not any different. I don't want to see the blood and guts. I don't want to see the injustices 24/7. I've seen enough to get me through. I can read about it or whatever. But I feel her though, because that's why my mom takes my kids for a month every year, so I could disconnect from my kids. And she says that every kid needs a break from their parent, every parent needs a break from their kids. So I
Mm.
feel you, Miss Alma, and my mother is very good about things. But but anyway, so I'm very careful about the images that I put in my spirit. I'm very careful about the news that I hear with my ears. I'm very careful about the environment that I allow myself to be in and for so long. And that even goes for movies, which is why people, I'm not afraid of the dark. Okay, I'm not afraid of ducks or spirits, whatever you call it. I'm not. You know
We
what I
know
mean?
Crystal is.
But
I'm scared. I am scared of the dark. Oh.
I've watched. I'm just not afraid of the dark, and I've watched enough movies. But I know that there's a point where I'm like, okay, I've had enough. You know what I mean? I'm about to hit my threshold, and I need to shut it down so I can have a peaceful night's sleep. And so that's what I do. But I'm also very like, my boo will tell you, I'm like, turn it off. Like I asked you, what I got to see. He's one of those that if he starts it, he got to finish it. And I'm like, but it's dumb, and I don't want to see it. So why do you finish it? Why are you wasting your time? He's like, because I got to finish it. And I'm like, but I don't. So turn it off.
Yeah.
And then we do that too. So yeah, but you have to be careful about the images and the sounds that you put in your spirit, because it will throw you all off. You have to disconnect from that too. Go on that drive, listen to some good jazz.
Yes.
Good.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to say this too. So when I used to go to work, this was when I, had just joined very young, and I used to listen to Ludacris, "Move, Get Out the Way." And y'all can fill in the blanks. We're still, trying to keep it good for the brand. But I would listen to it, and I get to work, and I'd be hyped to go sit in the
Mm-hmm.
desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember feeling very much like I feel hype. I feel heightened. I feel a sense of this. And what it was is what I was putting into me, putting into my spirit, putting into everything. And then that was causing me to have anxiety based on the sounds I was listening to. We talked about with sleep episode. What did you say, Camille? Listening to what?
The vibration is healing vibrations, but there are also, and let me say this again, I said it in one of my other podcasts, but even like during the Holocaust, the frequency of the music that they used was used to put people in a trance so that they wouldn't rise up and they wouldn't fight. Music has been weaponized in some areas. Music has is good for the soul in some areas. There are certain frequencies, just like 808 bass. It's a heart music. That thump, that thump, that thump. It's for a reason. There are certain bass lines that musicians put in there to get a certain reaction. When you're listening to that, it's on purpose. It's to keep you hyped.
Ooh.
But people don't know how to put them in their places, and they don't know how to choose the music that will be soothing to the soul as well, because you can't stay at that level all the time. So that's very important to understand what you put in, just audibly. Is that it? Yeah.
Audible.
Yeah.
Audibly, you ingest
Audible iPhone, that's an
effectively.
app. So
That's
I'm
just
going to go
No,
with
she's
that.
saying what you just.
I love it.
So I think
But
there's
it's
a
just
time
as
and place
powerful
for
as
that
God.
too. Like your
Yeah.
fight song,
Yeah.
Crystal, there's nothing wrong with your fight song. Sometimes I'm getting out the gate on Friday, I turn on straight trap music. It is
All
what it is. Or I
right.
turn on
What
some
you listen
reggae,
to? Tell
and
Yeah.
me, tell me the
I'm
trap
not
music
going
you
to
turn
tell the world. No. So I am from the South, right? Or I turn on,
Yeah.
everyone knows, like, if I'm in a reggae mood, they know what that means. If I want to clean my house on a
Yeah.
Sunday, I put on some Bob Marley. So I think there's a time and a place for it.
Definitely.
Exactly.
If you're going to go to sleep, you listen to Ludacris, then, I mean, your brain is already up here and you're heightened all the
You gotta
time.
know.
Yeah, you got to
So
know when to use it, and you have to respect it for what it is.
I definitely agree, and it's important for us to know as we're talking about disconnecting, unplugging. Thank you all in the comments for being very active, very live. Thank you to the family members and friends that show out, and people that we're just seeing that are showing out to support. Definitely check us out every Thursday. And then, of course, you'll see the banner on the end. You can find out how you can find us on Facebook and like, share. You have ideas, different things that you want to hear us talk about. We are definitely excited to have you here with us. But disconnecting and unplugging, we've talked
Yeah.
about it from different forms, different fashions. I don't want to go into social media dating apps because we're going to talk about that next week. But do you guys make it? I know we talked about it a little bit before. Is there a time? So, real good question. We are going to be going on Instagram and the next show and YouTube. And so we're going to go ahead and post those things for you guys next week. Thank you for that question. So, I know you have your days that you unplug. Is there a day that you not delete, but disable all of your social media? Is there ever a time that you guys would do that? We'll go with Camille.
I don't have a date. I just have time blocks. Sundays typically, I don't have a lot going on, and I try not to schedule too much on Sundays. I used to have a podcast that I would be on Sundays. I haven't been on it the last couple of weeks because I need that time really to connect with my family because my week, including Saturdays, are extremely busy, especially the mornings up until early afternoon. So I don't have a date, but I'm working on that, and Sunday is my kind of where I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to separate some things so that I can spend time and take those long countryside drives, which have been super therapeutic, and just relax with my
Do you,
family. So
do you think there's a time frame that people, and we'll get to you, Carrie, but do you think there's a time frame that people should disconnect? Do you think like there is any perfect time? Like, should it be you disconnect for a week, or is it just what feels good to you?
you got to know. Oh, I don't know if that was for me, but you have
That's
to
for
know
you.
yourself. So, some people need a little bit more time. Some people, like, my friend, he said, when I go on vacation, I need at least 10 days. For me, 5 to 7 days is good. That's a good vacation for me. But so different people, depending on how stressful your job is or how long it's been since you've had a vacation or whether you take time blocks off or days or whatever. Like I know Carrie has a specific day. If you're not like that, when you do take time, it might be a little bit longer. But it's individual for each person. I can't tell you how to relax and unwind. I can't tell you how to disconnect or for how long and what's going to be beneficial for you. So you have to kind of sit down, chart your schedules, and see where you need that time. It can take that time.
Good point. Carrie, same
So
question.
I don't think it's a specific time, right? I do agree with Camille. It's absolutely what works for you. So, again, we all know that I wouldn't be able to, thanks, Jen, our top fan, Jen, who's getting ready to retire. Thanks again for always checking us out. But yeah, to Jen's point, right? So I go on social media a lot of times to support other things. I live alone. I live by myself, right? So if I'm not careful, I go with work with the heavy stuff. I go to every Saturday for like 6 hours. I try to do some kind of crisis counseling. That stuff becomes too much for me sometimes. So sometimes I'm behind the screen on Sundays, and that's just my day to just be. I'm still on social media, but I'm still disconnected. Does that make sense? I'm not working. My brain's not running, although I am on social media or I may be talking to somebody, depends on who it is. And I want to let them people, in my space or not. So it depends on you what works for you.
All right. And he wants to take King's question of ladies, is dressing up therapeutic for you? We'll start with
Not for me.
you, Camille and Carrie. What do you guys say?
Camille, you can go.
And that was stressful for me.
Yeah.
I
I'm just a regular girl. I'm a jeans and t-shirts kind of girl, a nice sweatsuit, something like that. I do dress up every now and then, and I will say that I do feel very beautiful when I do dress up, but it's not therapeutic because you're trying to make sure your makeup is right, trying to make sure everything fits right, make sure ain't nothing, it's just too much. So, no, the answer is no.
I'm gonna be.
So
Go ahead, go ahead, Carrie.
it depends on what you call dressing up because I can have on a dressy top right now and jeans. Right. So for me, this is
Yeah.
dressed up. I can wear a dress or whatever, but a lot of times I think, and that should be probably a show topic. Walking in heels is not easy. Okay. I have to worry if I have on a short dress, I have to worry about the hair growing back on my legs that I just shaved. It's so stressful. That may be TMI for y'all, but it's so stressful. Like dressing up all the time, makeup all the time, everything to be laid and slayed. I just can't do all that. I'm glad God bless me. Sorry.
So
Yes.
I'm gonna be a little bit of the outlier. I always dressed up like growing up. I had my closet, like my treasure chest of clothes, and I dressed up. So sometimes like during COVID, I would always hashtag like dressed up with nowhere to go, and it was legit nowhere to go. And so I will attest, Carrie's right. Like the hills I could walk in when I was 20 is not. I'd be like,
Mhm.
I'd be like, let me get some shorter heels. But dressing up is for me therapeutic, and I change hair colors and everything. So it does. I don't even have to go nowhere. Sometimes I'd be posted, they'd be like, man, she always out here in these streets, and I just be going to bed. So yes,
Crystal, I have a question for you. I have a question though. I do too. Look, y'all don't want to see the bottom half, okay? But so anyway, I'm at home. You know what I mean? This is where I work. But I have a question for you guys because I know some I just want to talk about some other things that could be therapeutic as well. We're talking about unplugging, but when I was unplugging, it started when I was deployed or whatever. I started drawing. Like I would just sit down and draw, and it was so therapeutic for me. It helped me to unplug from everything. And then I realized that I could kind of half draw, you know what I mean? And I started drawing portraits of people and doing all those things. I started you know, doing a lot of different posts. I would think about stuff, have these thought provoke, and it was just very therapeutic for me. I was looking at art. I would go to museums. I would like, you know, spend time listening and dissecting music and things like that, that disconnected me from all of the social stuff and issues, but really connected me to the world in a different way and connected me to myself in a different way. So, do you guys, I really enjoy just taking I do painting and drawing. My daughter has all kind of canvases and stuff. She's an amazing artist, but I started doing stuff like that. So, is there anything that you guys, when you disconnected and unplugged from the world, that you found out that maybe you had a joy for, a hobby, a gift, or a talent that you started to explore?
So during the pandemic, well, you know, you guys probably saw my inauguration posting, but I did mask obviously for nurses and stuff like that. So a lot of people know I did that. But what a lot of people don't know is I also learned how to upholster stuff, and I actually am pretty good at it. So I'm actually redoing some chests this weekend and making them into leather and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can make money off of this, you know? So and I loved it. During the pandemic, I think a lot of people learned how to disconnect and to do things they never thought they would do before. I mean, I had that sewing machine in my house for years. You hear me? But the fact that there was a mask shortage and my mom was a nurse, right? And we needed masks. I learned how to do it, and I actually, you know, wasn't half bad. So
So
Awesome.
I'll say for me, and I'm being serious. I know I joke a lot, but I'm being serious. So two things. My sister Jen, I was at a very stressful time in my life. If anybody like Jen knows everything about me. I love you to death, girl. She actually introduced me to adult coloring books. And so I actually started doing that. And I was very excited about that.
mhm.
And so I was like, I used to do art. I used to make like comic books and things like that, but I got back into that. And also, to be honest, when I disconnect, I'm working on a book. I don't want to even give the title away yet, but I started writing. So, and King, I'm on page 3. So, so yeah, so definitely coloring and writing because I love to read. And I love to talk, but I put it on paper. So I know the hour is getting short. I love all you guys saying 90-minute show. It'll be one day, just not 2 day. So with that, I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity to wrap up, and we have a special treat in store for you. So Camille, quick wrap up, ma'am.
I'll just say, you know, disconnect and find out about you. You know, when you get rid of all of the outside distractions and you really look in, it's amazing what you'll discover about yourself that you're able to do that you wouldn't with all of the distractions. So unplug and find out who you are.
Oh, my turn.
Okay.
Yeah, so take the time to disconnect and take the time to spend time with you. I like to say if you can't enjoy your own company, you can't expect anybody else to. So take the time to do that. That's it for me.
Definitely. And we thank you guys all for attending and thank you for being so active. We appreciate you. Share, like, but this time we're going to do something a little different. We talked about unplugging and disconnecting from the social media, from the world. But we all know some of us have social media in several platforms. So we're going to give you a peek into what next week's topic is going to be about.
Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Camille, one third of the trio that make up the Lioness Lair. This week, we will be talking about finding love in digital spaces. Is it even possible? With today's pandemic, we know we're doing everything online, including meeting new people. So, how does that look for you? Does it work? Is it worth it? Are there any dangers associated with it? Or could there be a happily ever after? Join us on the Lioness Lair Thursday, 6 p.m. CST, 7 p.m. EST. Let's talk about it.